What's up, guys? Welcome back to our podcast where we dive into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. I'm your resident tech expert here to break down the evolution of ChatGPT.
I'm Janice, here to ask all the questions you're probably thinking but might not know how to ask. Today, we're diving deep into how ChatGPT is built, its past versions, the changes it's gone through, and what the future holds for this mind-blowing technology.
Exactly. ChatGPT has come a long way since its first version. From GPT-1 to GPT-4, every version has made significant strides. We'll break it all down, so let's start with how ChatGPT is built and how it all began.
Okay, Abhishai, let's get into the basics. How is ChatGPT even built? I mean, it's doing so much, writing essays, answering questions, even making jokes. How does it work?
Great question. ChatGPT is built on a specific type of AI called a Generative Pre-trained Transformer, or GPT. Here's what that means. Generative means it generates content, specifically text. Pre-trained means that before it's used, it's trained on a massive data set from books, websites, and other text sources. Transformer is the architecture that helps it understand the context of language and generate human-like text.
So it's trained by reading a huge chunk of the internet, and then it can use that to predict what comes next in a sentence, right?
Exactly. It doesn't memorize or store the information word for word. It learns patterns, relationships between words, and how to predict what makes sense in a given context. When you ask it something, it's like filling in blanks based on the patterns it's learned.
Got it. So, it's like having an AI that's really good at guessing the next word in a conversation?
Yep, but on a super advanced level, using billions or even trillions of parameters to make those predictions.
Let's go back in time a bit. ChatGPT didn't always look this impressive, right? Tell me about GPT-1.
Exactly. GPT-1, released in 2018, was the first version. It had 117 million parameters, which is tiny compared to what we have today. GPT-1 was more about proving the concept. It could generate text, but it wasn't particularly great at holding conversations or providing detailed, coherent responses.
That seems like a pretty small start compared to where we are now. Could it hold a conversation at all?
Not really. It could generate text from prompts, but it lacked depth and nuance. It wasn't trained specifically for conversations, so its responses were often pretty basic and sometimes out of context.
So it was more like a proof of concept, just showing that AI could generate human-like text.
Exactly. It laid the groundwork for everything that followed.
Okay, so GPT-1 was just the beginning. What happened with GPT-2?
GPT-2, released in 2019, was a massive leap forward. It had 1.5 billion parameters, which made it significantly more powerful. This version was much better at generating coherent, context-aware text and could handle more complex prompts.
Wait, 1.5 billion? That's huge compared to 117 million, so it could actually hold a conversation?
Yes, but not as seamlessly as today's models. GPT-2 could generate long passages of text and respond more naturally to prompts, but it still had its flaws. For instance, it could generate plausible-sounding text that was completely inaccurate or nonsensical.
So it was smarter, but it still had some issues?
Exactly. And because of its ability to generate convincing text, OpenAI was concerned about its potential misuse, like spreading misinformation, so they initially withheld the full model from public release.
Alright, now we're getting to the good stuff. GPT-3, tell me everything.
GPT-3, released in 2020, was a game changer. It came with a staggering 175 billion parameters, which was 100 times more than GPT-2. With this huge increase in size, GPT-3 could generate incredibly coherent and contextually aware responses.
175 billion, that's mind-blowing. So GPT-3 could actually do things like write stories, help with coding, and even hold decent conversations?
Exactly. GPT-3 marked the point where AI started to feel really human-like. It could perform a wide range of tasks, from creative writing and coding to answering questions and even helping with technical problems.
But it still wasn't perfect, right? It could still make mistakes?
Right. While GPT-3 was great at generating text, it still made errors. It might misinterpret complex questions or provide responses that were factually incorrect but sounded plausible.
So it was like a brilliant student who could write great essays but still needed a little help checking the facts?
Exactly.
And now we have GPT-4. What makes this one different?
GPT-4, released in 2023, is even more powerful. It has trillions of parameters and is multimodal, which means it can handle both text and images. This makes it a huge step forward in understanding and interpreting different forms of data.
So it's not just reading and writing anymore. It can actually see pictures?
Yes, you can upload an image to GPT-4 and it can analyze it and respond with intelligent insights based on that image. For example, you could show it a graph and it could explain the data.
That's crazy. But does GPT-4 still have weaknesses?
Yes, it's better than its predecessors, but it's not perfect. It still occasionally makes mistakes, particularly with complex reasoning tasks. But overall, it's much more accurate, reliable, and context-aware than GPT-3.
Okay, so what's next for ChatGPT? Where do we go from GPT-4?
The future is both exciting and full of challenges. Here's what we might see. 1. Hyper-personalization. Future models could learn and adapt to individual users, remembering past interactions and preferences. 2. Real-time learning. Instead of relying only on pre-existing data, future models could learn from interactions in real time, improving as they go. 3. Advanced emotional understanding. Future AIs could understand human emotions and respond with more empathy.
Sounds amazing, but also a little scary. Could AI become too smart?
That's always a concern. Researchers are focusing on ensuring that AI systems are aligned with human values and don't cause harm. But with the right precautions, the future of AI looks bright.
I'm excited to see where this goes. Who knows, maybe one day we'll be having conversations with ChatGPT that feel just like talking to a person.
That's the dream, Janice. Thanks for joining us today as we explored how ChatGPT has evolved and what's next for this incredible technology.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you next time for more insights into the world of AI.
Until then, stay curious and stay tech savvy.